Welcome to 2025 in review. This video, I'm going to talk about all the games that I played in 2025. I know it's not quite over yet, but I decided that the end of the month will be like December in review, so we'll get there when we get there. But regardless, yeah, let's talk about everything that I've played since the last year in review. At the end of 2024 in review, I said that I wanted to play a lot of new games this year because I get into this really bad rut of just playing the same games over and over again, which is very comfortable to me, but I needed to step out of my comfort zone. And early in the year, didn't do a very good job of that, but back half of the year, I think I did. So yeah, let's dive right into it. This first game, the first two games, I actually talked about when I played them, but just to more formally talk about them here since it's been so long, the first game I played wasn't actually even in 2025. It was at the very end of 2024, and that is Ape Escape 3. So you've seen this channel, you know I love my Ape Escape. I love Ape Escape 2, and I said, okay, I need to play Ape Escape 3. So I played Ape Escape 3, but I played like on December 29th, December 30th of 2024, I think right when I had released the 2024 in review video, and I said, I'm going to play Ape Escape 3. And so I did, and then I finished it with like an hour to spare on New Year's Eve. So technically 2024, but yeah, I love Ape Escape 3. This was fantastic. It's a little bit more linear. It's a little safer in comparison to Ape Escape 2. I think the jump from Ape Escape 1 to Ape Escape 2, granted, they were on different systems. Ape Escape 1 is on PS1, Ape Escape 2 is on PS2, and Ape Escape 3 is also on PS2. But I think Ape Escape 2 is a better game. I'll just be super real, but I love the things that they did to Ape Escape 3. If I wasn't so absolutely married to Ape Escape 2, I would probably play this again in the future, but if nothing else, I love the theming. I love the added mechanics. This game is fantastic, so if you find yourself really liking Ape Escape 2, you should play Ape Escape 3, and now we can only hope for an Ape Escape 4, but that is a pipe dream at this point, but let's manifest it for 2026. The next game is the first thing that I did in 2025, and it's again a game that I am familiar with, have played before, and that is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. So I briefly talked about this back then, but essentially Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses is completely different from Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. Otherwise, it's basically like Yu-Gi-Oh! Chess. And so part of the game, part of the story, is that you are ranking up your captain, so to speak, your deck leader. And you can do this in different ways by just winning more battles, destroying more monsters than the bare minimum, doing more direct damage than the bare minimum, just turns of being in the lead, simple stuff like that. And I never really got up high in the rank. I don't even remember what the rankings are, if I'm being honest with you. But I decided, well, I have figured out the calculation of how you rank up your deck leader. And so it took me a couple days to do it, but one day I just absolutely knocked out. So my deck leader that I play this is Pumpkin, the King of Ghosts, which is the zombie deck, which is definitely the cheesiest deck, I think, in the entire game. But I was really excited to do that because I'd never done that before, and it's cool to see all the added abilities you get when you rank up your deck leader. So maybe that doesn't mean a whole lot to you unless you've played Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses before, but I love this game. It was a cool achievement to do for a game that I've been playing for over 20 years at this point, and yeah, I really, really like this one. So this was the first thing I did in 2025. The next thing I did in 2025 is again, another game that I played before. And yeah, I did do a really good job of playing new games in the very beginning, but probably one of my favorite games from like my adolescence, not necessarily childhood, right? Like Duelist of the Roses, Ape Escape 2, that's like childhood. But once we get into the Wii era, I'm more like a preteen, teen, and I absolutely love this game. This was a game that like literally I would go over to a friend's house because they had it, and I would play nothing else. That is Mario Super Sluggers. And I've played this game through so many times. I know how to unlock everything, but one thing I wanted to do to make it a little bit more challenging for myself is to just do like a randomizer. So essentially when you go to pick your team, you can just randomize your team, and I'm really, really good at this game, I'll be super honest. So I did things just like choose the other opposing captain first, and then choose mine at random, and then let them choose their team first, and then I choose my team, which was usually, it's packed with some bad stuff, But not only that, then I also like set the level to all-star in difficulty. So not only was I randomizing it, because I could figure it out with a randomizer, but I also then just made my team worse than the other team. So that also doesn't sound like a lot, but this is a game I have a lot of really, really good memories with. So it was fun to do something a little different while I was figuring out what to play next. And yeah, I don't know. I like Mario Super Sluggers. Next one, not at all surprising. The next two are basically just Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but I tried to change things up playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So the first one I played technically was Pokemon Scarlet. This is still pre-Switch 2 era, but I decided I wanted to do a like Professor Oak's challenge, which if you're not familiar with Pokemon playthroughs, a Professor Oak's challenge is catching as many things as you can before each badge. So not really so much the case here in Pokemon Scarlet, but in other games, for example, you might only be able to catch or level up like, I don't know, 20 Pokemon before, like Brock in Kanto, for example. So everything in Viridian Forest, everything in the early routes, and you have to level them up and max out your Pokedex as far as you can before you do that next badge. And then, of course, you get new badges to unlock new abilities, so very quickly it gets out of hand when you're playing like the really basic games. But it's a little different for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because the entire map is technically available to you right from the start. Now, I did mine a little different because there's 3 different storylines in Pokemon Scarlet. One of them is for the HMs, for your dragon, your, in this case, Koraidon, to be able to climb, to be able to swim and all that. And some people treat those as badges. I decided to not treat those as badges and just say like, well, I'd rather just be able to traverse the game. I don't really want to move slow. I want to play it. I'll do it by badges because most of the game progression is based on your badges. So yeah, I don't know. So you could catch like 380 Pokemon before the first badge if you really go crazy, 380 out of like 400 Pokemon, which was a lot of fun. So that was neat, and it was kind of similar to what I just did in the next one, which was Pokemon Violet. And I didn't do an Oaks challenge, but I did a Violet Terra Raid Oaks challenge. So of course the newest mechanic in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which if you can't tell, I absolutely love this game, but if you can't tell, or if you haven't played before, rather, the newest mechanic in Scarlet and Violet are the Terra Raids, which you can get. I think they're also called like Gigantamax Raids. I could be totally wrong. I didn't play Sword and Shield, but very similar to that. You can find random Pokemon in Terra Raids. So my goal was to do the Oaks challenge, but for Terra Raids. So I would have to go through the entire map, getting all the Terra Raids, go through all the Terra Raids just to find Pokemon, so I wasn't able to catch them out in the wild unless I really had to. And that was also a lot of fun. That was kind of interesting and kind of neat, kind of funny. That took me like a couple weeks to do, I think. It was very challenging needing to go through every single Terra Crystal because at some point you just don't need them anymore. So this was fun. If you have any interest in doing a Terra Raid Oaks challenge, which you probably don't because 2026 we're probably getting Gen 10, but if you have any interest in doing it, I did make a spreadsheet for it, so we love spreadsheets. Also did a lot of like daily raids. Of course, the Terra Crystals reset every single day, so I did a lot of Terra Raids with friends and just played through. I don't know. I love Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The next one is also something that I did in 2024, and in 2024, I broke a new record for me playing Tetris. Now, if you watch professional Tetris, my accomplishment is absolutely nothing, but to me, that didn't really matter. I just wanted to play Tetris to my absolute max ability, and I remember, I think I broke 200,000 the last year in 2024 when I played Tetris. Oh, I'm talking about Tetris. There we go. I broke 200,000 in 2024, and like that was a good enough accomplishment for me because I'm not a crazy Tetris nerd, even though I would love to be because it's really, really impressive. And I just happened to pick it up one day, and I was like, wait, I'm like really, really close to breaking the record that I had. And then one day, magically, broke it and had 210,000 points. So I thought that was cool, but not really much else to say about that. Tetris is fantastic, and NES Tetris is absolutely goated. Then we get into some other fun games, and yeah, I mean, not really anything surprising here, at least for me, if you've seen the channel. Talked about Ape Escape 2, we have to talk about more monkeys, and Donkey Kong Country. So, I played Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy Advance way back in the day, and this is, of course, the one that I'm holding, the Super Nintendo one, that I have nice, complete box, very pretty. But a couple years ago, I think like when I just got my Super Nintendo, during collecting, I decided to play through Donkey Kong Country, and I just played it to completion, just to say that I played the original, and I didn't max out the completion percentage. I didn't max it out, and so I went back to the save file, and I was like, I can do a little bit better. So I used a guide, actually. A couple weeks ago, I did a video on all the books that I got from Japan. So I used those guides to find all the hidden rooms. You can max out to 101% just by going through all the hidden rooms. And something else, I can't remember what it was. I think it's mostly just the hidden rooms. So if you beat the game, you can be any percent, but if you want to 101% the game, you find all the hidden rooms. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, some rooms I've never found before on the JBA version, on the Super Nintendo version. So just magically 100%ing a game that if it was a game I was going to do, it was Donkey Kong Country. So I'm just looking at this box. I'm such a big fan of the box, but anyway, that's one thing that I did. This is still all pre-Switch 2. So, again, a lot of familiar games. But, yeah, the next one is actually a game I've never played before. And that is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So we're keeping it up with Donkey Kong Country. And I was kind of keeping ready for Donkey Kong Bonanza, which we'll talk about very briefly in just a moment. But Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, I never played, never had a Wii U. I had this game when I got my Switch and just didn't play it. And I was like, I need to play something new. And I did play something new, but at least it was adjacent to something I've played before. And I only got to 66% in this game through completion. This game is freaking hard. I'm not a great gamer. I'll be super honest about that. But Tropical Freeze was way harder than I needed to. There were several levels that it took me so many tries to get through. I don't know if I completed a single level on the first try, which is fine, right? It makes me put time into the game. But I was like, this game is fantastic, but it was so hard. I was getting really frustrated in some spots. But I'm glad I finally played it. It was the right way to get ready for Bonanza, I think, playing the most recent Donkey Kong Country game. And I really, really enjoyed this one. So if you like the Donkey Kong Country games, this is a must-play, if I'm being super honest. And yeah, I really, really like this one. So really, really like this one. So give this a shot if you haven't. Of course, it's on the Wii U, so we're talking, 10 years old? But I finally played it. I was really, really a big fan. I remember being on FaceTime with a friend trying to beat the final boss, and that friend fell asleep. And so, I think I beat it in, the next attempt or something. And I was like, yes, finally, thank God. Crazy. We are getting very close to the Switch 2's launch, but a few more things that I did right before the Switch 2 launched, or that I got it. So getting ready for Mario Kart World to come out, I was like, you know what? Let me play a little bit more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And so I played that. My entire goal for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was getting to 7,000 online score. Again, not very high, but it was just a nice round number that I was able to get up to. You start at 1,000 for points, and then just based on how you finish, based on your competition levels, you get up. And so I guess over the course of my entire time with the Switch 2, with a Switch, I got to 7,000, so 6,000 more points. Not a very high score, just, something to do to hold me over right until the Switch 2 launched. And then, of course, it took forever for me to get my Switch 2, and then Mario Kart World came a week after the launch. So it was a while before I played Mario Kart World, but we'll talk about that in just a second. But yes, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, big fan. And the very last thing I did right before I got my Switch 2 was to play Super Mario 3. I realized I didn't pull that out. I have Super Mario 3 in there. But for Super Mario 3, it was the first game I've ever played on Nintendo Switch Online. So, of course, I have an NSO subscription to play online for Mario Kart. But, of course, if you have a Switch, you know that you get tons of NES and Super Nintendo games free along with your subscription. And I was grappling with, I wanted to play Super Mario 3 again. It was one of the games that I grew up playing. And I was like, do I want to play it on my GBA? Wasn't really feeling playing it on my Game Boy. Didn't really feel like playing it on the NES, because on the NES, even though it's the original, then I'd have to beat it literally in one sitting, which I essentially almost did, but then you need to keep your system on if you have to walk away, and I didn't know how long it would take, so I decided, let me do it on Switch Online. Played the original version just with modern controls, so that was a nice happy medium between playing it on the GBA and NES. Probably my favorite Mario game of all time is Super Mario 3, so definitely play Super Mario 3 if you haven't done that already. A lot of games I'm telling you to play that everybody's played before, but it's okay. Play the classics. So then finally, we reach the point that the Switch 2 releases, and as I mentioned, Mario Kart World did not arrive with my Switch 2. My Switch 2 came 2 days late from Target, and then Mario Kart World wasn't scheduled to deliver until the Thursday after that. So I'm like, what am I waiting for? What am I going to do? And I tried so hard to wait to play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2. Of course, on the Switch 2, it got a performance upgrade, but I was like, I know if I start playing Pokemon Scarlet, then I'm not going to play Mario Kart World when I get it. And that's sure enough what happened. So I did play Pokemon Scarlet again, and I made the video about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet back in October when ZA released, and it looks so good on Switch 2. It really feels like a launch title. I think AlphaRad said that when the Switch 2 released, and he was just like, Scarlet and Violet are brand new games, so if you have a Switch 2 and you didn't play Scarlet and Violet before, like, now you have to. I will sing praises about this game forever. Like I said, I made a video literally defending the damn game, so I really do love Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and this looked fantastic to play on Switch 2. And I definitely need to play Violet on Switch 2, just because I'm horrible at playing new games. And I think I'm going away for a week, so I think that might be my game that I stick with when I go on vacation. So played Pokemon Scarlet again on Switch 2. It's just fantastic. I'll do Scarlet and Violet. I'll do Violet soon. And I think there's also a Terra Raid event coming, I think tomorrow at the time that you're watching this. And so I definitely have to play Violet before that comes out, so I actually have a chance to do that. All right, whatever. It's fine. Then finally, Mario Kart World comes in the mail, and I played this to start. I gave this a couple weeks, I guess. I don't remember how long I played Scarlet for. I played it for a decent amount of time, but then Mario Kart World I played, and I've made a video on this already. I don't like this game. It's a fine game. I think the best way of describing it is that it is not a good Mario Kart, but it is a good game. So, like, for example, I played through this. I did the knockout tours for a little bit, didn't even finish them because I was just so over it. The stupid, like, some laps are just highways to the next course. It's not a well-designed game. I think I said in the video critiquing this game that they had, like, 3 different mindsets going in, like the open world, the knockout tour, and then the Grand Prix. And instead of, like, focusing on one and making one really good, they all just kind of ended up being subpar. So, I mean, if you have a Switch 2, you probably get Mario Kart World anyway. But if you are getting a Switch 2, I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting Mario Kart World if you're not super obsessed with Mario Kart. Definitely play a demo to get the feel. So, I don't know. I'm glad I played it, I guess. It's technically a new game, but if I could go back and redo my Switch 2 launch, or the Switch 2 launch, I'd probably put Donkey Kong Bonanza first. But I do stand by that Mario Kart World is the launch title that they needed to do, but whatever the case. So I finished Mario Kart World, and now it is August. And I already made a video actually talking about all the games that I played in August. So I'm not going to go through them again. I'll mention them again, but after Mario Kart World, now I have Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I started August by playing through Donkey Kong Bonanza. Then after I finished Bonanza, I played Pokemon X, which never played Gen 6 Pokemon before. I was partially playing Pokemon X in preparation for ZA. We'll talk about ZA, I guess, toward the end of the video. But then I played Pokemon X. Really, really enjoyed Pokemon X. I played Super Mario Bros., the original Super Mario Bros. On original hardware, because I had embarrassingly have never beaten Super Mario Bros., so I needed to beat that, and I beat it for the first time, just with like not even a cheat, just a continue mechanic built into the game. Then I beat Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series, which I was a really big fan of, a pair of puzzle platformers, Klonoa 1 and 2 on Switch. Strongly recommend. Of all the new games I played this year that are not Donkey Kongs or Marios, you have to play Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series. Have to. I also played Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, which was a rhythm game. Didn't play great on Switch, but I had a lot of fun doing that for as frustrating as it was. I played Balatro for the first time. I've played it many times since then. I think I have it in the script like at least 2 more times. But I played Balatro, and then last but not least, I played Pac-Man World. So, Pac-Man World Repack, which I had played Pac-Man World on PS1 growing up, never finished it, played the Repack version on Switch, and that was fantastic. Big fan of Pac-Man World Repack. And then I ended August by beating every deck in Balatro at least once. And we'll come back to Balatro because I've played it a lot more since then. But moving out of August, Then I started playing, if you've seen the channel before, you also know I love Dokapon Kingdom, and I decided to play a different Dokapon game because it has English support, and that is Dokapon Sword of Fury. So it didn't release physically here in North America, but it did release digitally here in North America. So me and my friend Josh, who we play Dokapon Kingdom all the time together, or at least we did before we wanted to play new games, and we decided to play this one because it was brand new. So the original Dokapon Sword of Fury, Dokapon Ikari no Tetsuken, didn't release here in North America, only in Japan on the PS1, and this game is just a sort of remake. I think Dokapon Kingdom from PS2 and Wii to Switch is roughly the exact same game. This game, there's mostly just quality of life improvements. It's the same game, but just like you can, like the equivalent would be like just getting more lives or speed up features, stuff like that. This game, it was sufficiently different from the original compared to like how Dokapon Kingdom was ported to Switch. And I'll be super real, this game stinks. It is, Dokapon is probably best described as like a Mario Party level of like tomfoolery, we'll put it to keep it clean. But this game just like, it was like unforgivingly baloney at some points, like to the point that it wasn't even really fun. Like we would die and end up on the other side of the map, and both Josh and I were like, what is this game? And we just wanted to finish it. So it took us several weeks because it took several playthroughs to get through the whole thing. And I don't know if I would play this again. maybe if I was playing with a lot of like the quality of life sliders up, I would. But this game didn't do it for me. I'll stick to Dokapon Kingdom. There's one more Dokapon game on Switch, but I don't think it has English language support. But I have that too. I don't know if I'm ever going to play it, but yeah, Dokapon Sword of Fury. At least I played it. At least I could say I played it. Quite a few games this year from series that I've played before that were just new to me, I guess. I don't know. Tropical Freeze, Bonanza, they're just Donkey Kong games. But whatever the case. Also, I think roughly around the same time, we were bouncing between Dokapon Sword of Fury and also Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. So I put Josh onto Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. It was like $5 on the eShop in August and early September, so I helped him beat it. He basically 100% of the game, so that was fun to go play with him and see like the true ending. But I was so tired of Super Crazy Rhythm Castle that I was like, cool, good for you. One random day, I played Pac-Man Collection. That's it. I don't know. It was just a random Sunday. I was bored. And then we get into some games that like I didn't actually finish or I didn't actually like. So, of course, now I'm like back to work in October, November, like really, really in the thick of work. And so I was trying to play games, trying to get really focused on games, and I had a hard time doing that. Even if I was trying to play new games, I either like couldn't finish them or what have you. The sun is right in my face. I don't know if you could tell, but it's okay. So, for example, I then started to play Cuphead. And I had asked around to a bunch of friends, like, what do I play next? Gave them a list of stuff, and Cuphead was on that list, and Cuphead won. Everybody said you should play Cuphead. What they didn't tell me was that the game is really hard. That's the game's entire shtick. It's very much like early Disney Steamboat Willie type animation. That's what it's known for. But it's just a boss rush that is so incredibly hard. You're not meant to beat the game first try in anything. But it was so hard that I couldn't do it. I tried so hard, I just could not beat the damn game. And finally I just said, I can't do it anymore. I was like I think the second world, there's a dragon boss that it really, really took me a long time and trying to look up like guides as to how to beat it. And I just couldn't. It became too frustrating. I don't want to say I rage quit because it was just kind of like I tapped out. But I love this game. It's so pretty, but you need to play with somebody who knows what they're doing because I could not beat this. I'm not that good of a gamer, but the music, the animation, everything, so good about this. I just couldn't beat it. So, Josh or Jack, if you're watching this, please help me beat this damn game. So I couldn't beat Cuphead. Then I went back to Balatro for a little bit, couldn't beat anything, and then I decided to put in a game called Frogun, which I had seen in like a limited run Games Direct years ago, and I was like, that looks so beautiful, that looks so pretty and so much fun. And then I finally played it because I had it, and it kind of stinks. We've talked ad nauseum on this channel about PS1 and N64 era graphics. Literally the whole reason why I will not play Ape Escape 1 is because it has, to me, very ugly PS1 era graphics, and that's what Frogun is. It's a PS1 era platformer. And not that it was necessarily a bad game, I just didn't think it was the most fun, if I'm being honest with you. I kind of want to walk back that statement now that I'm like talking about it. But so I had Frogun, played through a world of it out of like 7. Didn't like love it. I kind of felt like I trudged through it. It wasn't a bad game. It's just, it wasn't for me. So I tried Frogun, gave up. So I played through like the first world in a night, and then just got busy at work, and then didn't go back to it. And finally I was like, I'm not going to finish this game. So then I actually sold it. So I don't know if this is like something to mention here, but I've sold actually a lot of Switch games. It was great and dandy that I had a 408 Switch 1 game collection, not including stuff that I had already sold in the beginning of the year for personal reasons. We probably got really close to like 500 Switch games, if I'm being super honest with you. But I don't know. I sold a bunch of Switch games. I'm down to like 200 something, I think. I don't know. But yeah. Not a fan of Frogun. Maybe I should look into trying it again, but it's okay. There's other things I want to play. I did also another game from a series I played before, but haven't played this game before. I had never played Super Mario 3D World before, and I had a friend come over, and we were looking into things to playing, and she was like, "Oh, I really, really like Super Mario 3D World. Let's play that." And I was like, "Say no more. I should play it." And we got through most of the game across a couple playthroughs. Didn't finish it yet. So, you know who you are. We need to finish this game. But yeah, and then almost around the time that we were playing this, I also put that friend onto Balatro. So like I said, I was going to mention Balatro again. That game is fantastic. And then what are some other things that I did? Had a Balatro phase, and then another friend said that we needed to play Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. I don't know anything about Scott Pilgrim. This is a beat 'em up. Not a big beat 'em up fan. But I did play it, and it's not a very long game at all. I paid more for it than I thought it was going to be, but I was glad to play it. It was a game that friend really, really liked, so I'm glad we played together. But yeah, I don't know. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. If that friend's watching this, they're really not going to like my take on Scott Pilgrim. I also realized that pretty much every game I've played in the back half of the year was on the Switch. Am I just becoming a Switch gamer? I don't know. I swear I'm a better gamer than that. Anyway. Then, that was 2025, and then I just kept playing Balatro. I've been on a really good Balatro kick. If you're watching this, it's only the middle of December. I've been playing Balatro like crazy. I kind of got into a really good rhythm of like unlocking stuff. So, I mean, there it is. We'll show Balatro one more time, but I got into a really, really good rhythm of beating decks, beating challenges, or unlocking stuff. So I've made a lot of progress. I think in the entire game, I have like 5 challenges left. I have 1 Joker to unlock, and then after that, it's just playing the decks to all their difficulties. But yeah, that's how I am going to probably end 2025. Not actually, though. I actually, too, have one more game that I've been playing, but I bought it very recently, so I'm going to save it for December in review, and then be like, oh yeah, I also played this game. But you could consider Balatro maybe my game of the year, because this game is addicting. You should play it, but it's addicting. But yeah, that's everything I played in 2025. So a little off the cuff, not really any info about the games. I feel like I was maybe a little vague about some of these games, but a lot of these games you should try. I don't know if there's any games that I wouldn't recommend. I think every game that I played is ones that if you're interested in it, maybe you should try it. Like, even though I didn't like Dokapon Sword of Fury, if you really like Dokapon Kingdom, you should give it a shot, because you can only play Dokapon Kingdom so much. I could play it a lot, but I'll now play Dokapon Kingdom 99 times out of 100 over Sword of Fury. But whatever the case is, lots of really, really good games in this year. Next year, I want to do a little bit better, playing more games, not like first half of the year, just games I've played before. But I think I can do better on that, just looking at my Switch collection, going like, I need to play that. I need to do that. Some retro games I want to play too, but I haven't really been like super obsessed with playing older games. Like, I'm looking at Switch games and I'm like, I really want to play that. One game that I didn't play this year, which it's been almost 2 months since I've played it. Since almost 2 months since I've gotten it, and I made an entire video defending Scarlet and Violet on Switch right before the Legends ZA video game came out, and I haven't played Legends ZA. I really, really was grappling with whether or not I was going to play it, and now it's been 2 months since the game released, and I still haven't played it yet. the Nintendo Direct right before ZA came out mentioned or announced DLC for the game, and that really turned me off from the game. So I'm like, why are we announcing DLC for a game that hasn't even come out? Like, I really, really didn't like that. So that left a sour taste in my mouth. But also, I'm not a big fan of the combat, like action RPG combat. So I was grappling with it before the game even came out, that I was like, am I even going to like this? And everybody I talked to, like, no joke, all my really close friends, I asked them, I was like, have you played ZA? And they love it. They're like, this is some of the most fun I've ever had with a Pokemon game. So to me, it's a little weird that I'm not playing a Pokemon game that is brand new, that everyone else likes, because I really like Scarlet and Violet. Nobody else really likes Scarlet and Violet the way I do, but everybody likes ZA. So it's kind of weird that I'm not playing ZA. But I don't know. That's like, I feel like that's a really big miss for the year. So whether or not I play that in 2026, I don't know. I've been making a playlist of all the videos, like people I'm subscribed to, videos that they've made on ZA, and I've been waiting because I'm like, I don't want to spoil anything yet. But now 2 months, I think I got to wave the white flag. I think I just got to start watching those videos and spoil it, because I don't know if I'm ever going to play it. But it's okay. It's fine. We're getting Pokopia in 2026, and that's on a game key card. I don't know. I'm starting to understand a lot of the hate about the Pokemon Company, but that's completely different. It's completely different. So, whatever the case is, this is everything I played in 2025. Hope I do better in 2026. More new games, even if they're games of series that I've already played before. But lots of new games I should play. And whatever the case is, thank you so much for watching. You didn't really learn anything here, but I hope you resonate with some of these games, or you have opinions on these games I talked about, or you recommend games that are adjacent to any of these. Don't recommend me another beat 'em up, because I'm not good at beat 'em ups. My friend carried the entire game playing Scott Pilgrim, but whatever it is, thank you so much for watching. We got like 2 more videos left here in 2025, and I will see you then for all of those. So until those happen, like I said, thank you so much for watching, and bye.